Welcome to today's episode. We have Karina Klaus with us, and I'm so excited because we are talking about how to get more sales, but not the way you think. Let me ask you, do you feel like you are doing a lot of busy work, or you feel stuck, or you just don't know how to get started in actually making sales as if your body's resisting it? It most likely is. In today's episode with Karina, we are discussing how she helps her clients reset their nervous system, rewrite the narrative, and get into stronger sales day after day, where she has created a special framework to help you do this so the sales just come in, well, effortlessly. I'm so excited to have Karina on the podcast today. Let's get right into it. Karina, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited about our conversation today. Let's get started with just talking a little bit about how you help the women out there.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm a psychologist and business coach, and I always say I help women fall in love with sales. Yes. The thing is, most women I work with are in the beginning stages of their business, or they're still in corporate and they want to start their own business. And most of them know that they have it in them. So the idea is always people think it's all about coaching, it's all about the service they provide, and they forget about how much starting your own business or having your own business is also sales and marketing. And many of them say, oh, I just want to help people. I don't want to be a salesperson. So that's what clashes, and that's how I help them. I work a lot as a psychologist. I work a lot with the nervous system and help them make sales normal. I always say it's the most normal part of your business because it should be, right?
It is. And I love that you're a psychologist. I love that because that's a different take on it than a lot of other coaches out there. Because a lot of other coaches will just be like, oh, I'm just a business coach or I'm just a sales coach. But you have that back end knowledge of how the brain and body works, which I think is super cool to tie in. And I love that you're going with the nervous system because yes, if your nervous system is not dialed in, it's not going to do it. And my listeners listen to me all the time talking about my nervous system and how I'm doing trauma release, how I do grounding, how I do meditation. Because when my body isn't working, I struggle to do everything. I have brain fog, I have fatigue, I procrastinate, I don't feel joy, I struggle. It just is like this, I call it shadow success. You're just tumbling down deeper and deeper into a hole and you think you're working hard, but you're not actually going anywhere. You're working, you look good. You're like, oh, I'm doing all these things. I got 3 more subscribers on YouTube. And you're like, woohoo. But then eventually you look at things, you're like, but I only made another 5,000. I've been working so hard. I thought I'd make $10,000 more this year. How did that work? And you don't see it until you look back. And that's the problem.
Yeah, 100%. So what I feel most people struggle with is, especially in the beginning, they don't do what they know they should be doing to move the needle.
Yeah.
And as you said, they procrastinate, they do everything. And the hardest part is people close their laptop at night and they're exhausted.
Yeah.
They're exhausted. They have been busy all day and they think of their business every day, 24/7, and they don't get done what they need to get done because their nervous system brilliantly fools them into being busy, but you don't do the things you should be doing. It's sneaky.
It's really, really sneaky. And so let's talk about sales a little bit because we were chatting offline because we are both like huge salespeople. I love sales and I feel like it's the fundamental of anything you do. My parents used to joke when I was little, they were like, you could sell your used shampoo and conditioner to somebody. But when I got older, I learned that sales is a little different than just pitching something. So you can pitch a product, you can pitch an offer, you can pitch. But sales is so much more than that because you can get your lucky people. I call it the low hanging fruit. You might have a couple people who've been in your world already and they're like, oh, this is cool. And they'll buy it. Or a couple people who show up and so happen to need that. That's your low hanging fruit. But if you don't build the back end, you don't build the brand, you don't build the messaging, you don't build the authority, you don't build all the other stuff, it's a long journey to get the sales that you want. And it takes a lot of time. Do you see that as well?
Very much. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about consistency, right? So because sales is not rocket science and there are so many different ways to sell, right? Why do sales have such a bad reputation? I always like to say it's because of these used car
Yeah.
salespeople, and then people are being sold the wrong things. But that's not what sales has to be about, right? There are so many honest people. There are so many people who just have amazing products and they just tell about it and people love buying them, right? So sales is so much more. And I think to build the back end, to build this know, like, and trust factor, especially in the beginning of your business, it takes just consistently showing up, consistently improving your products, consistently finding out, okay, who am I actually serving with my product, and finding how to speak to them, right? So there's so much to that, but I believe it takes this consistency, and it takes this phase of finding that for you. And just like you said, you made 5K, but you thought you would make a lot more. That takes to be able to deal with disappointment also, right? To be able to deal with feelings that are less than comfortable. And most people hate that. They hate that. So that's my focus on it always. So I'm not a traditional sales coach in the sense of that I teach people the scripts or the strategies, because to me, it's so much more about, can we make sales your normal? Can we make your nervous system be okay with selling? Can we rewire the stories you have around sales? Can we pull it deep inside of your comfort zone? Because then what happens is people start playing. And when they play, because they're having fun, they just build a connection, they just talk about their products, the sales happen automatically. So obviously it helps to have a nice funnel, everything around that. But I believe, especially in the beginning, you need to be okay with selling. And that's the focus that I have.
I think what happens is a lot of newer people, or even let's say a couple years in, we get so stuck into this. I have to build the perfect funnel. I have to build the perfect offer. People don't understand when I tell them I sold $100 million in sales and I had no funnel. I had a basic website because I didn't need it. I know in this online world when we're selling, yes, online, you need something, right? Because people want that trust because there's so much distrust out there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I was like, I'm just going to go to local meetups and I'm going to just fill in my rooms that way, it's a harder way because of what I do now. But let's say I wanted to do it. I could do it that way, right? Like
that way, totally.
You don't need all this stuff. And what happens is they're sold the stuff. They're sold the busy work. And I know some groups we're in, a lot of people will be like, it's been 2 years and I haven't launched my business. I took this course and I did this thing, but I haven't launched. Should I launch? I haven't launched it. I'm not ready, right? Or they'll say, my landing page isn't perfect or my offer is not perfect. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, so when are you going to sell? When are you going to make $1? Because you got to make money first to keep going to what you're doing. And a lot of people lose sight of that.
Yeah, very much. And it's so easy to do so. And I always like to say that it's not because you don't have what it takes, because I believe that many people have what it takes. If you love what you do, you can make it happen. However, I always say it's all about self-leadership at the end of the day. Because in order to make things happen, you have to increase the capacity that your nervous system can hold. Because if all of that seems scary, and let's face it, it is scary, especially the people I work with who come out of a corporate career, for example. For them, structure is already given. Most of the people want to break free from that structure that is there, but then they start their own business and there's no structure. There's nothing. And then they're like, oh God, what do I do today? How? And then their system, again, cannot handle all this freedom because they don't know what they should be doing. And then it's very, very simple for the system to just give you things to do so that you feel productive, even though you're not. Have you ever heard of the term productive procrastination?
Yes. Sometimes I live it. I'm going to tell you that.
100%.
Some days. So I was taking, it's very weird, but I was taking this magnesium because I can't take the regular magnesium because it makes me sick. So it's a different kind of magnesium. And I was taking it and it was giving me severe brain fog and fatigue, big time. And I was in that mode because my brain and body was just out of it. And I felt so tired that I was like, oh, I'm doing so much, but why do I feel like I'm so behind? My nervous system was like, we can't handle this today because something's wrong with us. So we're going to go do these things. And so my doctor was like, oh, you're allergic to that. And it's causing you to be foggy. And once I stopped, I felt better. But your nervous system will push you right in when it feels threatened and afraid, because it's like, I can't handle this. I don't know what to do with this. We're going to go back to comfort. Nothing will happen to me. Right? Let's talk about how the nervous system is working as people are trying to build their business.
Yes. It really depends because we all have different nervous system, right? The system itself is very similar, but we all have different programmings in it, obviously. So I think what we all learned in school is this typical fight, flight, and freeze. I don't know anyone who hasn't talked about it in school, but no one really applies that to business. And we have this phase of rest and digest when we're folding laundry. So we know exactly how to do this. Folding laundry is safe. Our system learned we're probably not going to die doing that. It's fine. Because the system constantly scans our environment for danger because its job is to keep us alive. It's all about, okay, are we safe? Are we going to survive this? But as soon as we don't know for sure, and that's exactly what's happening, maybe that's a prison and being in corporate, but you have the safety of getting your paycheck every month. And you would not believe how much of a difference that makes to people, because the first time that paycheck doesn't arrive, and it doesn't matter how many savings you have, many people go right into freeze. The interesting thing is if we were always in rest and digest, that is when we can be creative and we can be our best selves. But I would go so far and say that most of the people, let's say at least 80%, 99, of the beginners are in fight or flight constantly without even realizing it. And then you have these typical examples that you see in fight would typically be, I have to do more, I have to learn more. Okay, just one more email. Okay, I'm going to send one more. So you're constantly in this phase of, bah, 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 I have to do more. Yeah. Or flight is this, I have to go do my laundry. I cannot focus with the laundry not being done. And who's going to write this email with the floor not being vacuumed, right? So that's your typical flight behaviors of, I escaped that situation, I'm fleeing, I'm doing something else. So most people are constantly in those, and they're not even aware of it. And then at the end of the day, they close their laptop, they're exhausted because their system has been running from a tiger all day, and they haven't gotten anything done. As we said before, it's very sneaky, but this is very simplified, the typical stuff people do and do and do without getting anywhere because their system just won't let them. It won't let them.
I'm going to tell you, even experienced entrepreneurs, same thing, right?
100%. Next level, outside of the comfort zone.
Yes. And that's a lot like when I do the income jumps. They feel like they have to add more, do more. It's scary. They get into fear because, well, everything's working. I'm all consistent. It's happening. If I make this change, maybe it won't be consistent. Maybe I'll make less money. Maybe all my money will go. And they get really nervous about it. So I feel like this is a problem that just keeps amplifying. Let's talk about some ways you're helping your clients address it.
Yes. I mean, first of all, we always start with the knowledge because you would not believe how many people have no idea in fight or flight. Yeah. They have no idea. They just think, oh yeah, sales is hard. Well, it doesn't have to be because look, there are people who just love doing it. Like you said, they just play and have fun. And then we always feel like we all have this one woman and the way she sells, I want to be like her. Yeah. So I always kind of let them know, okay, look, it's possible. There are people who just love doing that. They just play and you would love buying from them. So let's see how we can become your version of that person. So yeah. I developed a framework. I call it the trust framework. I love it so much because at the end of the day, it's all about how much can you trust yourself, right? Yeah. And it's really all about the awareness. Like, where am I at the moment? Where's my nervous system? Am I in rest and digest? Do I even have access to my brain right now? Because we talked about brain fog earlier. Yep. If you are running from a tiger, you're not going to write a good sales email. Who are you in a sales call? So it cannot work. So let's first look at where are you in your system? Let's learn your typical loops, because usually what happens is we have these loops in which our system does. It's like these typical habit loops also. You have a trigger. For example, I have a sales call planned, and that's your trigger. And then you start doing your avoidance behavior. And then you first have to fold your laundry, and then you couldn't prepare. Oh, it's like this typical loop you're going through. So first of all, it's all about mapping that, finding out where are you? What are your typical loops? Can you recognize them? And then we do a lot of work when it comes to, because you can calm down the nervous system simply. Yeah. Some people do it with, you talked about meditation in the beginning. That's one thing. There's breath work. There are acupressure points you can do. Sometimes it's as simple as pulling your ear. You calm down your system. So we kind of create your own safety stack to really find out what is it that you need, what is it that works for you, so you can calm down your system quickly. Okay, and once you're calm again, once you can breathe again, once you can think again, you have access to your brain capacity, then what I like to do, because I like to work deep and sustainably, so then it's all about, okay, what is it now that we can see what's going on, now that you have access to what's going on, what are your stories around sales? What do you believe about sales? Who do you want to be? Who do you not want to be? Very often that people then think of, oh, I don't want people to think I'm too pushy.
That's everybody. It's funny because everybody says that. And I think it's because people talk out there and say, oh, you don't want to be sleazy and salesy. And I remember in corporate, we talk about sales breath. You don't have sales breath. You don't want to walk in somewhere and be like, okay, here's all my features and what I can do. And you're just like a mile a minute selling everything. And the person's like, you know,
I heard about that one. That's
because,
a good one.
because it's in corporate world, a lot of people will come hot and heavy and they're just like, throw it at the person. Instead, it's like, what's your problems? What are you trying to solve? Where are you struggling? And then what you do is you tailor your pitch to their struggles so that you close the deal. Because if you just rattle off all the things you have and they're not interested, especially when you're one-to-one, they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
But instead, if you say, hey, what's the struggle? What is it that you're really doing? Let's talk about it, see how we can help, and then tailor it to them. So specifically, you're saying it does exactly that. This is how it does it. Yes, I can fix that. This is how it does it. They're going to buy from you 100% more than just saying, here's everything it can do. Because then you're sitting there going, but what about what I need?
Very much. And exactly as you say. And then the people who have all these stories about sales, they don't even get to that point because they're so nervous. They're so much in their own story that they don't even have the capacity to hear the other, to see the other. So it's really a lot about, okay, what are your stories about sales? So can we, and this is not like a sales method, right? It's not like this is what you do before the call. This is something that you do rinse and repeat every day because you change your whole identity around sales, right? But the idea is really, what do you believe about sales? Who do you not want to be about sales? And then what I do is help them really rewire their relationship with sales. So it's lots of deep subconscious programming that we rewire. And then it's really about becoming that person. So at the end of the day, if you want to give it one big overview, one big headline, it will be self-leadership, right? I believe that that's everything you need in business. You need to be able to lead yourself through this change, right? You need to be able to understand, okay, where is my nervous system? Can I calm it down? Can I regulate it down for safety? What are my stories? Okay, can I let go of these stories? Yes, I can. Who do I want to be instead? And how do I become that person? So it's always that change process always, and then apply that to all kinds of sales situations. And then again, we're at consistency, because at the end of the day, building your funnel, and sales is a skill you can learn, right?
Yes, a lot of people don't think that. They're like, I'm not good at sales. I'm like, do you know you can learn how to be?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine and she is a huge introvert. She'll sit in a room and you're like, are you going to say something? And she's like, oh, I'm listening. And I'm like, but you have to say something. She's so quiet and so reserved.
Yeah.
And she sells like a mad woman.
I love that.
Because she just listens and takes in everything. And then she sits and she analyzes it. And then instead of being worried about how to do the sales, she'll figure out this process, this plan. And then when she goes to sell, it's more of a process and a plan than it is of a, oh, am I good? Can I feel it out? Where I'm a feeling person and I'm more of like, I feel the room. And then I go based on how the room feels and I change my pitch and I tailor it to all of that. But I'm a little different. I'm really outgoing. So you learn this. It's not something that you have or you don't have. And I think that's the other thing people really forget.
100%. And that's exactly what I meant earlier with, I don't teach people strategies. There are 1,000 strategies out there. And the thing is, it's one that you need to find for you, that you want to learn. That's what I meant earlier when I said it's about play. Because once you're not scared of sales anymore, once you let go of your stories, and once you decide, who do I want to be in sales? How do I want to sell? Do I want to be quiet? Do I even want to have sales calls? There are so many people who say, I don't even want to have sales calls. And that's fine. There are plenty of people who sell amazingly well without sales calls. So it's all about, how do you want to sell? What's the most fun for you? What brings you joy? Because if you feel that and you play, you're magnetic.
And so you were talking about really getting into your own work personally. If I was trying to get better at sales, like change my nervous system so I could be okay with it. Is this something you would do as like a morning routine? How do you help your clients get this as a practice?
Yeah, especially in the one-on-one work, I do believe that a morning routine and calming nervous system is amazing to prime yourself for the day, because most of us are in some kind of activated state, like either being fight or flight a lot of times during the day. That's not a bad thing because play, funny enough, is also activation of this nervous system, but with a very good connotation to it. It's a healthy nervous system, let's put it that way.
Yes.
It goes in activation, goes in rest, goes in activation, goes in rest. And it's fine. It's meant to go up and down. Sometimes it goes all the way to freeze, but then it goes back to rest. That's normal as long as we go up and down and up and down. But most of us are up for the rest of the day.
And never go down.
They never go down, maybe at night, you know?
Yeah.
But then as soon as they wake up in the morning, you probably know that you wake up and you're like, today, to-do list, bum, 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 before you even get up.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that as a morning routine also. Okay, it can be as simple as a breath work. It can be as simple as just sitting, being still, listening. And I love a very simple tapping routine. It's something that I love to teach everyone at the very beginning is EFT tapping. You've probably heard about that.
I've heard of it, but tell us more about it because we haven't had anyone on here who talks about it.
Yeah.
And I do a little bit of it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, tapping can be used in different ways, right? You can really use it as a technique to release things in the mornings. You can also do some, call it bronze tapping. It's really just when you go through the typical points, and you've probably seen these before. You usually start tapping like in the middle, you tap here. You can't do it wrong, really, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much, how long, how fast, because again, as you said in the beginning, people want to get it right. No, just tap what feels right for you.
Yeah.
You tap on the side of the eye. You tap underneath, under the nose. Do you know there's this little dot?
Yeah.
This little dent, and the chin.
I love that.
I'm so used to doing this that my whole system goes like, oh, okay. It's a simple routine. If you put it in YouTube, you see it very simply. That's why I like to do it every single day, because every single time you get your system from activation to the regulated calm. And when you do that, when you make it happen, your system increases capacity.
Yes.
Because you are in a situation where you are activated, you help yourself regulate safety, and your system's like, oh, okay, maybe it's safe here. So what happens usually is you start yawning, or you notice you want to move a little bit. That's when you notice you calm down. So every time you do that, you increase nervous system capacity, and that's what you want. It's a little bit like your comfort zone. You increase your comfort zone because your nervous system is like, oh, wait a minute, maybe that's not a risk. Maybe I am safe in this situation. So that's what I like to do as a morning routine, just to start your day with, okay, I'm safe, I'm good. And then when I set up the safety stack with my clients, it really depends. But in the beginning, when I first learned this work, during COVID, a long time ago by now, what I did was always, I set myself a timer on my phone, because I was one of those corporate people who was always all the way in the edge of activation, because I was like, bam, bam, bam. And I was just a businesswoman, you know?
So you're like, I'm doing good. I'm hustling. I'm moving, until you realize I have destroyed my body. Like you were talking about how you're tapping and you're like, oh yeah, I'm tapping. Oh, it feels calm. I tap so I do like a adrenal release of toxins. So I move my body in a certain way to make sure everything's moving through. And so part of it is tapping at the end, right? So I did 1 minute of tapping, but my body's been in fight or flight for so long. It's like stuck really high, because for about 10 years, I was like, I will do anything to get to my goals, because I didn't realize it was the journey, not the goals. And I broke my body. And so if they're so tight and they're already struggling, we need to do this even more. And so I try to practice it throughout the day, even before bed. I don't like to do work right before bed. So we'll probably talk about, I try not to do anything stressful. Normally I will read. So I think there's people out there too that are super, super activated. You were talking about how you were super activated, and now I can tell you're very calm. Maybe you could tell a little bit about your journey from being super activated to finding that calm.
Yeah, I'd love to. So as I said at the beginning, I set myself a timer because I wasn't even aware of what's happening. I was so deep into my fight or flight patterns that I wasn't even aware. So I set myself a timer and said, okay, 3 minutes per hour.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop and I'm just going to breathe. That was the hardest thing to do. What do you mean stop? This idea of I have things to do, I cannot stop. And it makes you believe that it makes you safe, because the system wants you to feel safe. So it feels like if you're in fight mode and you do things, like if you feel like you have to do all the time, that's a fight reaction. So at the end of the day, it doesn't feel safe to just pause for 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the hour. It doesn't feel safe because you feel you're losing time. That was the first step I had to learn. So can I be safe pausing for 3 minutes? Is that okay? So just in the beginning, it was really a lot about tuning in. How do I feel right now? And can I make it safe to stop? And then really, I set the timer. I had this little timer on my phone that would say, okay, breathe. And then I would religiously do it. Religiously was the intention. I didn't always get to do it, but
It's a thought. It's sometimes
yes.
it's like the thought is there and it's like you keep thinking about it.
Exactly. And I believe nowadays, I believe that if you take the pressure out, because if you feel you have to do it all the time, then you put pressure on yourself and it's the wrong direction. But that's what really helped me on this journey and take to really, okay, tuning in. How do I feel right now? What's there? Because I was always so much in my thoughts that I wasn't even aware of my body. And what this work is really about is most of us are really much in our heads all the time. We try to think ourselves through all the problems we have through our business. And then the idea is, okay, but where is my body in all of this? How do I feel right now? And in the beginning, I thought that's too slow. That's the yoga people doing that. But I really learned what a difference that makes. And I believe that once you do this work and once you have your first few moments of feeling the difference between being completely activated and being calmed down, when all of a sudden you have this rush of capacity in your brain, you notice, oh, you're in the same situation, your business is the same, nothing has changed, and it's just 2 minutes later, and all of a sudden you feel lighter. So many things become possible. All of a sudden your brain expands in a way where you feel, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Oh, that's simple. I can just do it this way. So I feel that once you're hooked, once you feel that, you're looking forward to your 3 minutes of break. I feel like that's the beginning. And then obviously, naturally you expand. Naturally you notice, okay, now that I am calmer and now that I understand where my system is, now I want more. Okay, now I may rest and digest. Now that I feel safe, what else becomes possible in this state? And I'm a psychologist. I studied years ago at university. All this mindset work you learn, it doesn't do half its job when your nervous system is in activation. But once you're calm and you do your techniques of releasing old stories or rewiring old patterns, old programs, those things work on steroids when your system is safe.
Yes.
So how could you not want to do this?
They don't understand. And I love that you're teaching this and you're helping people. My dad taught me, because it's how my dad is hurry, rush, go faster. Like when we were at Costco when we were younger, he would be like, hurry up, let's go. I'm like, why are we walking so fast in Costco? My dad would be like, get it, get it, get it, get it. And he would be like running through the store as fast as he could to get things done to go. And I kind of learned that behavior. So I used to talk really fast. I used to go really fast. I would process really fast. And then I look at other people and I say, oh, they're slow. They don't know. But I was missing a lot of stuff. And then once I started getting into this work of fixing myself, this is how crazy it is. And I want people to hear this because they may be in the same boat. I couldn't even sit to get like a pedicure or a massage or any of that because I had almost this anxious, I need to go do stuff. I have things to do. I'm busy. And then I couldn't even sit to have joy. I couldn't sit to just be in the moment. And it's something I still am much better at, but I still work with it. So when I go to a coffee shop, I don't have my phone. I don't look at anything. I just watch the people. And I let my brain, it's the most calming thing in the world. It's like white noise. I hear all the noise of the people chatting and the coffee going. And I'm just watching people in and out and hearing the stories. And I'm like, that was like the best 10, 15 minutes because your brain calms down. But I want to talk about capacity because this is something else that a lot of people don't understand. When we grow a business, when we're building, we have to work. And then as we learn, we compound our efforts and we get experiences and we get more knowledge. And then it gets easier over time. That's the same thing with the nervous system. If you're not training it, that's why I love how you explained you got to go up a little and then come down. You have to be in these patterns of flight or fight. You have to get up there a little because you're training your system that, hey, I'm not falling off a cliff. I'm not going to die. I'm okay doing this. But then see, I came back down and I'm okay. And I think the more we do this and the more we give it a little bit, then the system works better. And I think that we need to be in that state of fluctuation, but safe and good fluctuation. Because if we don't push ourselves in the business and we don't have capacity for our nervous system, it's really easy for women to get stuck just starting. Because either they want to just be a little more chill about it, but you have to push to build the business, or they're pushing too hard and then they break.
Yes, 100%. The nervous system does not learn just from mindset work.
Mhm.
There's so much brilliance in visualizing things. And they say, oh, your body cannot really see the difference. Everyone who has tried different things knows that you can visualize all you want how to do something. I have this tennis racket in my hand right now. But unless you take the racket and try a few balls, your system will not really know what it feels like, what you have to do. Yeah. So it's really, your system really learns through action. And yes, it's true. Some people say, oh, stop before you're ready and you just have to go. And there is some truth to that. But I always say small, actionable baby steps to take your system with you. Because exactly as I said, if you do too much, you run right into freeze, your system shuts down completely and you don't do anything anymore. Yeah. And then what happens is that this is what often happens to people who then give up and say, oh, it's not for me after all. But if you push yourself just a little bit in small, actionable baby steps, that's when system learns, okay, didn't I? So you gather evidence. Your system gathers evidence to understand, maybe we didn't die, maybe this is safe after all. You do it one more time. How interesting. It didn't feel amazing, but I'm still here. Okay, you do it one more time. This is my complete normal nowadays. Yeah. So this is how your system learns to make it your normal. 100%.
I love that. Yeah, that's fantastic. So inside your programs, how are you taking your clients on this journey?
I'm doing mostly one-on-one coaching, because especially I feel this is such personal work that I really wanted to cater everything exactly where they are. And after doing that for quite some time, then you begin to see patterns. Most of the time, people are stuck in this and this. And also to make it more accessible for more people, I decided to start group programs. At the moment, I'm doing is live cohorts to give people the knowledge, because as I mentioned earlier, I developed a whole framework that takes them through this whole journey of tuning in to understand where's my nervous system, learning about their own patterns, about regulating the system. Once my system is calm, how can I rewire? And then how can I become that person? How can I take the lead? How can I have the self-leadership to lead myself through this whole journey? So that's a whole framework that I'm teaching in a group class with plenty of hot seats and one-on-ones, because as you know, the groups always have this big advantage of learning from each other, to realize the other person is going through something that you are going through without being aware of it.
I'm a big group coaching. Group is something where you're going to learn from people. And it's funny because I'll be in a really big group and I'm just listening. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Oh, that's wow. Okay. And I just become so much more aware of either I have it, I don't, or that's very interesting. Yeah. So I like that you have the framework. I love that you're really putting it into different areas for people. As we're wrapping up this podcast, how can people find you?
Social media wise, I'm mostly active on LinkedIn. And I also have my website with a blog where I regularly update people on the latest things.
Awesome. And then you also have, I know for people who are going to listen later on, definitely check her out on LinkedIn and her website, but you have a masterclass coming up and you have a new program you're launching. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Before Christmas, I am planning on doing a free masterclass for people to really understand more about the nervous system and how to calm it down. I think that's also good. The days before Christmas, yes. I think that's a good skill to have to calm down your nervous system. And then for everyone who would love to go deeper with me and who learned the whole framework, the whole rewiring of the system to become the person who can lead herself through all of this, that will be a group class. It will be a cohort style class that I will launch in January, the week after New Year's, so people can start the new year with a skill.
Awesome. We'll put all the links below. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's below the video. If you're on a podcast channel, then it will be in the show notes. So make sure you check her out, follow her on LinkedIn. And if you're interested, get into her masterclass, or if she doesn't have anything going on right now, get on her email list and make sure you're in her world. So when she's ready for the next one, she can definitely help you. Karina, it was so wonderful to have you on the podcast today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.